everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany, this is the Brittany React Show, and on this show we talk all things entertainment news, movie news. We don't have any strike talk today, actually, it's all entertainment news, but we do have a pretty explosive interview with Chris Evans, who has a lot to say about Marvel and his time there, so we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about like I said, mainly just entertainment stuff. We do have some really, really weird WTF news today, so make sure you stick around until the end for the WTF news. But it's going to be a fun show. How are you guys doing? Hi, I'm Kai. Hi, Ryu. Hi, the Modern Designer. Hi, Dee Dee. Hi, Wanda. Hi, Mikey. Hi, Edgeman. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Jax. Hi, the Cover Girl. Hi, Jordan. Hi, Yoshi. Hi, everyone who's here, and thank you to each and every one of you who shows up every single day. Hi, Jelly Creative Studio. Alright. Oh, you said I like watching my channel. It's like calming and exciting drama about the entertainment industry, but in a fun way. Well, I'm glad you're liking the show. Hi. Oh, thank you, Jessica. You're so kind. Okay. So now let's go straight into the news. Alright. So we did get a new trailer for the Percy Jackson show that's going to come on Disney Plus. Anyone excited for the Percy Jackson show? I did see like the old ones with Logan Lerman. I like the first one, to be honest with you. I know like book fans didn't care for that adaptation, but as someone who didn't read the book, I thought the movie was actually all right. So I know a lot of people are really excited for this one. What do you guys think about it? Oh yeah, you guys can see my shirt. Hi Cry Deluxe. Hi Brittany, this is my first stream live. Oh, welcome. Anyone gonna watch this? Honestly, I'm just going through it, scrubbing through it. My first takeaway from this trailer is that it honestly looks a little cheap. It looks like a streaming series. It doesn't look like premium television, like, I don't know, just, it looks very cheap to me. What do you guys think, though? This is giving Disney Channel, you know? I don't know, this feels like it also skews really young. Like, all of these kids are really, really young. Like, even younger than, like, Logan Lerman and that team was in the original movie. So I don't know if this is really going to play to a super wide audience, to be honest with you. I think this looks like, I don't know, like, I guess this kind of looks okay. Maybe I'm being a little harsh on it, but to me it just screams kind of cheap. Anyone excited though? Okay, Aaliyah also liked the movies. Wanda says, I like the first two movies. I have them on DVD, yeah. I saw the first one on a field trip in theaters because my teacher wanted to teach us about Greek and Roman mythology. So she thought the movie would be more educational than it was. So my memory of going to see that movie is on a field trip. Oh, Evil Connor says Disney Channel was with a Twilight filter. Yeah, this does kind of look like Disney Channel with a Twilight filter. I know exactly what filter you're talking about, too. It's like they're trying to give it sort of an indie vibe. I don't know, but it's just giving very cheap to me. I don't know. I'm sensing a lot of you might feel the same way. The Free Rocket Man says, every Disney Plus show looks cheap lately, let's be honest. And that's the thing, Disney Plus shows actually aren't cheap. Like, they spend hundreds of millions of dollars on these things. And this is how they turn out. I don't know where the money is going. I think they're just redoing things over and over again to the point where maybe all the money they put into this show is, like, not actually what we see. Because there's so much on the editing floor. But I don't know. I don't know. Is it a lightsaber? Okay, Nicholas says this isn't really on your radar. Yeah. Dennis says at least there ain't that ugly blue-green Twilight filter. You know what? That blue Twilight filter kind of grew on me. I feel like that movie wouldn't be the same without it. Wanda says the main character was based on the author's son who had ADHD. At least that's my understanding. Okay. Maybe they'll add that to the show. Jacqueline says, I watched the trailer and it looked good, but Disney can ruin anything now. So maybe some of you will watch it, though it's looking like majority of you are not interested. Yeah, Ahsoka looks very, very artificial. This one also looks artificial to me, not gonna lie. Alright, moving on. So, Elemental continues to have its sort of comeback moment, because when it was first released, everyone, including myself, proclaimed it a flop. We all said, oh, Pixar is, really falling off. They can't really make a good movie. They keep flopping now. Well, Elemental not only held really well in theaters, so it ended up making like 500 million, so it ended up making like a decent chunk. But it's also doing really well on Disney Plus. It just hit Disney Plus, and Elemental is now the most watched movie premiere of the year. So that's pretty impressive. It got 26.4 million views in its first 5 days of streaming. So it seems like the people who did see this movie really, really liked it. Okay, the Free Rocket Man says, man, now I'm curious. I gotta watch Elemental. Honestly, I think it's not bad. I don't think it's like top tier Pixar, but it's certainly not bad. Okay, Jax loved Elemental. Alright. Tannis says, I saw Elemental last night. I was actually surprised at how much I liked it. A lot of people seem surprised. I think the marketing really did this one in. I think they could have, now having seen the film, I think they could have marketed this movie better. Like, a lot better. Father Cato says, what is competing against it, though? That's the real question. That's a good point. Because what other movie actually premiered on Disney Plus this year? Yeah, what is the competition? Well, I mean, all the other movies that Disney put out, like, I guess none of the Marvel movies made a huge splash like this. Little Mermaid didn't do this, so it beat Little Mermaid's views, so I guess there are some big movies it compared against. Nicholas says Elemental was serviceable and nice, just nothing compared to Prime Pixar. That's how I feel about it, but a lot of people really, really love it. I think it, as you said, it's fine and serviceable, but clearly it has its fans. Okay, yeah, you guys are agreeing. Little Mermaid. Hi, Brianna. Alright. I'm gonna move on to the next topic now. So, the Marvels. We got some new information about the Marvels because Nia DaCosta, the director, is giving a lot of new information about it. And she said something that I thought was really interesting and potentially concerning if you care about the Marvels. So, the first bit of good news is that reportedly the budget is only $130 million. So, that's actually a really good budget. If you guys know anything about like how much superhero movies typically cost, they typically cost something like $200 to $300 million. So the fact that this is only 130 million, so they say, is actually really good. Now, I have my doubts about this number. There was already a report like ages ago that Disney underreports like every budget for every movie they do. So I don't believe this budget 1 second. I think it's probably at least another 100 million more than that, especially since they did a lot of reshoots. But we'll go with it. We'll pretend this is the number and we'll say it's 130 million. If that's true, that would mean it doesn't need to hit the huge numbers that other previous Marvel movies needed to hit in order to be profitable. So I know why they're throwing this out there. They're saying, hey guys, the budget's not that bad. Because they're probably already like expecting lower grosses for this movie, so I think they're softening the flop now by saying like, oh, but the budget wasn't that bad, even though I don't believe this budget for a second. But the second thing that I'm concerned about with the Marvels is this statement from Nia DaCosta. She said, quote, "The Marvels is a Kevin Feige production. It's his movie. So I think you live in that reality, but I tried to go in with the knowledge that some of you is going to take a back seat." So what she's saying here is that she went in directing the Marvels with the knowledge that it was really Kevin Feige who's going to be pulling the strings and kind of ghost directing the thing like he basically ghost directs most of the Marvel movies. And she knew that. But the way she's saying it is like she's kind of preparing us for the worst. Like maybe she's not totally happy with how the movie turned out and she's like kind of like letting us know ahead of time, like Kevin Feige had all to do with this. Like, is she already trying to like subtly throw Kevin under the bus? Is she trying to warn us that this movie is not that good? And the reason why I'm thinking this is the case is because if you guys ever watch She-Hulk, the writer Jessica Gao in She-Hulk, she threw Kevin Feige under the bus a lot. Basically saying, oh yeah, Kevin made that decision. Kevin did that. Yeah, you didn't like that? Yeah, Kevin did it. And she is like one of the only people in Marvel I have ever seen do that. And I'm wondering if like this is Nia's way of like subtly doing that, like just preparing herself so her name doesn't get tarnished. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm reaching here? Okay, Brianna agrees. Yeah, the budget is definitely higher. Alice says, not his movie. Yeah, that's not good wording. Yeah, I mean, she's literally saying The Marvels is Kevin's movie. Like, she's not even taking ownership of it. That's not saying, yeah, Kevin Feige had a part to play in the movie. She's saying, no, this is just flat out Kevin's movie. That gives me a lot of concern that there was probably, and most likely, a lot of studio meddling on this film. So, a little concerning. There's no spoilers here. I don't even know any spoilers, so I couldn't give them to you. Nicholas says, either we're going to hear the budget was double that, what was said here, or we find out that Amon got $10 for this. Yeah, I don't know if anyone really believes this budget. I feel like if you're like me and you follow box office like numbers and stuff just because you're interested, you know for a fact this ain't $130 million. There's no way. I don't believe it for a second, but that's the number they're throwing out there. And to me, I feel like the real number is probably at least 100 million more, because I forgot which publication wrote an article about it, but it was a pretty like notable one that even stated that like Disney typically lies about their budgets. They underreport them like every single time by 50 to 100 million. So I think that they're doing the same thing with the Marvels, in my opinion. Little Joe's Animation says, I wish I had watched more than 4 Marvel movies or had an interest because this movie looks so fun. Which 4 Marvel movies have you seen? And why does this one, out of all the Marvel movies, look fun to you? I'm very curious. Why is someone who doesn't like Marvel, why is this the film that interests you? Okay, Hidden Name doesn't believe it either. Yeah, I know, Simi Charm. She called it a Kevin Feige production. Like, literally distancing herself from this movie already. This is... Okay, do you guys remember... Some of you might know this, but... Remember when Fan Forstic came out, that last Fantastic Four movie? And the director, Josh Trank, I think his name was, he went on Twitter and he made a bunch of tweets talking, like, even before the movie came out, like, completely crapping on the movie, saying like the studio ruined it. I feel like this statement here is giving me the same vibe. That's why I brought it up. Jordan Davis says, it's so much CGI in the movie with Disney a lot of resorts, so probably more. Oh yeah, I'm sure this movie is a CGI, extravaganza. The trailer looked like it, and most of it takes place in space, so I just hope they don't overuse the volume. I'm so over the volume. I mean, I'm watching Ahsoka, and you can just always tell when they use the volume. It just takes me out of it every time. Yeah, Nicholas, I agree. It's not boding well that she says this. Kasaki says, if the original Avengers had their powers swapped in a movie, I would watch it. Marvel's, not so much. I think you definitely have to care more about the characters themselves to care about their power switching. I feel like if maybe we'd already seen these people, like, team up before, or maybe if we just had more time with Miss Marvel and Monica before we got to this team up, maybe we would care more about switching the powers, but as it stands, their powers are so similar anyway, it's kind of not even that interesting that they switch. You know what I mean? Like, they're all just kind of shooting light beams out of their hands, so it's not even that interesting to see them switch around. Oh, we have a new member! Thank you, Father Kaido, for becoming a member. We are getting to the member section later in the video, so look forward to that. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like my shirt. This is actually the shirt I wore for my college graduation. So, there you go. Well, not for my graduation, but I got it because of graduation. Yes, thank you for being a new member. Oh, JB says the bar is low. Oh god. Okay, Little Joe's Animation says Captain Marvel, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man. This movie looks like a fun, peppy adventure. Marvel seems to take itself too seriously, except Phase 4 from what I hear. Oh, so you're interested in this because you think it looks fun and not too serious like a lot of other movies. Okay. So you're wanting to see this for like the comedy aspect of it? Is that what's appealing to you? Okay, that's good to know. I will refresh, Jordan. Cry Deluxe says, it's unfortunate that this movie is going to probably underperform, because I think people will take it as a reason to further dunk on Brie Larson again for no reason. I think this movie is definitely going to underperform. I think the question is how much. And I think Marvel is expecting it to underperform, which is why they're reporting that ridiculously low budget that's definitely fake. um, yeah. So, it's not looking good, to be honest. I'm hoping it can at least make more than Quantumania. I feel like for this movie to not be a total embarrassment, it has to make more than Quantumania, which, as we talked about yesterday, was like 450 something million. So if it can just beat that, I think it can at least save face. But if it can't, that'll be really bad. Alright, let me do a poll. Do you guys think this will make more than Ant-Man? Remember Ant-Man made something like 450 million. Alright. Is the Marvels making more than Quantumania? I'm gonna say yes, no, and then maybe about the same. Alright, that should be a clear question. Yes or no? Nicholas says, would 600 million be a good haul, all numbers considered? I think it will consider to be a decent haul. I think obviously they would have wanted to make more than that, especially since 600 million would be almost half of what the first one made. But I think considering there is just so much going up against this film that I think if it did make 600 million, Marvel might take it as a win just because they know it could be worse. Brianna says, I think it will probably make a tiny bit more than Ant-Man, to be honest. Okay. Okay, interesting. I'll tell you guys what I think when the poll is done. Rachel says, how much did Quantumania make again? It made about 457 million worldwide. Yana says, it's entirely debatable. I choose about the same since I guess that there are enough people who would go see it for individual characters. Okay, well, let's go back to the poll. So far, 38% of you are saying no. 38%. 32% think it'll be about the same. Oh, that's terrible. That's literally awful. That's like 70% of you think this movie is basically gonna flop as bad as Quantumania or worse. 70% of you. Oof. Oof, that's bad. Only 31% of you think this actually has a chance at making a decent amount. That's terrible. But you're probably not wrong, to be honest. Alright, ending the poll. So, here's what I think. I think this movie is probably going to make about the same. I think somewhere in the 400s range is where I see it landing. I don't think it'll... If it does do better than Quantumania, I think it'll be like maybe in the 500s, but I honestly can't see this movie getting to 600. I think if it does do 600, like I said, that they'll just take that as a win. But I see that as like everything going well. People actually like this movie. People actually show up for it after finding out it's good. That's how it can do 600. But if this movie's actually not good, if it's bad, I think 600 is not happening. I think 400, around 450, like what Quantumania made, is probably very likely. Hi, Fod Fareed. Burning Daylighter says Miss Marvel should have never been added. Why not Miss Marvel? They're really trying to make Miss Marvel happen. I think Marvel really thinks that Iman Vellani could be a star, and she seems very charming and personable. She seems like a really sweet girl. I just don't know if like the character of Miss Marvel is connecting the way they want it to. Maybe she will in the Marvels, but I think they're definitely hoping she does. Yana says I gave up on Secret Invasion after episode 2. You made it longer than me. I gave up after the first episode. I said nope. Fool me once, shame on me, but fool me again and again and again, I'm over it. I was like, I know where this is going, and it's nowhere good. It doesn't sound like I missed anything. Alright. So, moving on from this topic, just had to throw this out there because I do feel like there is a bit. This is a very concerning, statement from Nia here, so I am a little nervous about. Oh, well, I was already nervous, but I'm like extra nervous for this movie now. Alright, moving on. So, you guys have been hearing a lot about how the visual effects artists over at Disney and Marvel specifically have been very, very upset with the company because they feel like they've been mistreated, underpaid, overworked, and we just keep getting like more and more comments from random visual effects artists saying like, yeah, Marvel kind of treats us really bad. So we have this new comment here from visual effects coordinator Alexandra Rebeck. I hope I said that right. Says, they worked 75 days in a row on Falcon and the Winter Soldier and only got time off when you had a mental breakdown. I don't want anyone who comes into visual effects to end up doing what I had to do on that show. So, this is why the visual effects artists are trying to become a part of IATSE so they could potentially strike or negotiate for a better deal next year. Because this is how they've been treated. 75 days in a row, and you only get a break when you have a mental breakdown. Does that sound like a good workplace culture? Does that sound like a place you want to work at, guys? Burning Daylighter says, I just can't get into her character. Are you talking about Miss Marvel? She's not even comics accurate, and I don't like the childlike aura she brings. I just find her extremely corny. I feel like I assume you're talking about Miss Marvel. I think they want Miss Marvel to be like the female version of Peter Parker, where she's just like this very naive little kid who just suddenly has all this power thrust upon her, and I think that's what they're trying to do with her. I just don't know. It could work if they just give her the right material, but I don't know. Pop says, I'd be fired with the amount of mental breakdowns I have in a week. Pop, are you okay? That's not okay. Pop, why? I hope you're doing okay. Nicholas says this entire industry seems so repellent right now. Yeah, it seems like the companies are just being very hostile towards their creatives and workers, and it's very sad to see. Arvin says, I don't even like this show. What was the point of Sharon Carter? That's the great point, because, like, they have these poor visual effects artists work overtime, like, work 75 days in a row with no breaks. And for what? I saw this entire show from beginning to end, and I gotta tell you, this was mid-AF. It was okay. It's not She-Hulk bad, it's not Secret Invasion bad, but man, was this boring and basic, and the villain was horrible. Honestly, in the grand scheme of things, I don't even think the show was needed. Like, everything that we went through in this show is probably gonna go, like, back over in the Captain America 4 movie. So I just feel like this was redundant and not necessary. So you had these poor visual effects workers, treated horribly. And for what? For what? Sharon is a villain. I don't even mean just Sharon, but also the other girl that was a leader of the Flag Smashers. I don't remember her name. She had like all the freckles. I thought that was such a lame villain. Honestly, I think she would have been Marvel's worst villain if it weren't for the fact they had the clandestine and Miss Marvel, and then they took the cake for worst villain. So they just keep getting, from worse to worser. The Modern Designer says, I used to dream about animating for Disney, dodged a bullet. Yeah, I would say if you want to be an animator or a visual effects artist, work for a smaller independent studio, or even do work for YouTubers. YouTubers are looking for visual effects artists to do their graphics and stuff too. I would look into doing stuff like that. I would not look into any of the big studios right now, or any of the big like visual effects houses that work for the big studios, because you're gonna get abused, at least until they like renegotiate their contracts. MW says, never watched a Marvel movie or show and never plan to. Wow, that's actually pretty impressive. Not a single one. Nothing about this franchise seems worth the time to even talk about it being bad. Well, I feel like for the first 3 phases, this show, well, not the show, the franchise was actually doing really well, and there was more positive to talk about than bad. It's really just been season 4, or phase 4, that things took a turn for the worse. Yeah, Mikey, I can understand. Fodfree says, Brittany, did you hear Elemental? Yes, we just talked about that, previously. Tanis says, Dennis was everything to me growing up. Oh, Disney. What did I say, Tanis? Disney was everything to me growing up. It really hurts to see them crumble creatively. Exactly. I mean, why do you think I have a freaking, Mickey face in my graduate shirt? I've always been a Disney fan, so when I criticize them, I'm not coming at it as a hater, because I'm just a very upset, disappointed fan. Oh, Glitchmation you're planning your own show on YouTube? Have fun. Anyway, I just wanted to update you guys because this is very important when it comes to the strike talk, and because I know we're going to hear more about the visual effects artists regarding this strike soon enough. So, moving on. So speaking of Disney, it looks like they're trying to turn things around, and what they just announced is that they will be investing yes, you heard, $60 billion over the next 10 years to increase the growth in the theme parks, which basically means they're going to be investing in new attractions, new expansions to the parks. Maybe we'll even get a new gate altogether. I highly doubt it, but I mean, to be honest with you, the parks need a lot of updating, especially Epcot. So this is actually a good thing. I think the parks is actually the most profitable part of Disney's business, so it makes sense to put the funds here. So as a parks fan, I'm excited about this, but I'm also a little bit nervous because, well, I mean, Disney's relationship with Florida is already pretty contentious as it is, and they want to further invest in that state. I feel like long term that might not be a good idea for a variety of reasons. Also, climate. Florida gets a lot of hurricanes. I wonder if part of this money will be into, like, making the parks more hurricane resistant, because they kind of need that. But anyway, I'm actually kind of happy about this. Anyone else feel the same way? Brianna Desart says, new attractions, aka a mediocre ride with marketable IP slapped on it. Are we actually getting new stuff? I hope so. I hope it's not all just like a new IP-based ride. I hope that it's, we get some original stuff too, but that might be asking for a lot. Also, can we just talk about how much money $60 billion is? $60 billion? Like, didn't they buy Fox for $70 billion? So this is only $10 billion less than what Disney bought Fox for. So if that gives you any idea of how much money $60 billion is, that's insane. Also, I thought Disney was broke. How are they affording $60 billion? I don't know. This sort of seems like something they announced maybe to help the stock. 'Cause like, I mean, I'll be happy if they actually did this, but I'm kind of feeling like they're gonna spend maybe half of that in reality, to be honest with you. Dee Dee, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. If you had the power, which Marvel character would you base the next movie on? That's a good question. Scarlet Witch, easy money. I don't even have to think about it that hard. Scarlet Witch needs her own solo movie. They need to make it happen. She's easily one of their top 3 most popular characters right now. I don't know why they're not doing anything with them. Dennis says, isn't 60 billion like 50 to 70% of Disney's entire net worth? Exactly. Disney only has like what, like a couple $100 million or a couple $100 billion like as part of their assets. 60 billion would be, as you said, like some 50 to 70% of their what they have on hand. So this would be like investing, I would say, like at least half of what the company owns back into the parks. This is that's why I keep harping on the 60 billion number, because you guys, that's a huge number. That means that they're reorientating their entire business almost around the parks and not just streaming like they were. At least to me, that's what this says. Burning Daylighter says they got all this money for parks but not for the talent. Exactly. Thank you to Discussing Film, who has been very shady to all of the studios. Says, yet they refuse to give writers a fair deal that would only cost 0.88% of their annual revenue. And that just shows you they got $16 billion. Apparently, I don't believe it, but they got $60 billion supposedly to, spend, but they can't give 0.88% to the writers. That just shows you they don't actually care about their creatives. Oh, Shelley Lee. Thank you so much, Shelley Lee. 60 billion over 10 years across all parks and cruise ships. This is not as much money as you think. I still think it is, because Disney's entire net or worth is only like, I want to say it's less than 200 million overall. So if you're comparing like how much Disney actually has on hand, 60 billion is a significant chunk of how much money they have. So that's why I'm saying this is a lot. Evil Connor says, this is a bad look during a strike. I don't even think they care about optics at this point. I think they stopped caring about optics a long time ago. Evil Connor says, we're gonna build a few hotels and theme parks based on some content that we can't afford to make right now. Yeah, that's exactly what they did. Fod Fareed, yes, I know I said only $10 billion less, but you know what I mean. Alright, so moving on to the next topic. Again, thank you to everyone who gave super chats. So, now moving on to the Chris Evans topic, because he just did an interview with GQ, and he had a lot to say about his experience with Marvel, and how he's basically just done. He's had a nice time, but he's ready to move on. So he had a lot to say. Firstly, he said, on whether or not Steve Rogers will return, he said, I'll never say never, just because it was such a wonderful experience. He's saying never say never, but he also said, I wouldn't want the black eye if it felt like a cash grab, or if it didn't live up to expectations, or it just felt like it wasn't connected to that original thing. So no time soon. So it definitely sounds like he's afraid to come back because he doesn't want to ruin his legacy. I mean, I get that. He left Marvel on a high. I mean, he left an Endgame, which became the highest grossing movie of all time for at least a little bit. I mean, that is a legacy you want to leave out on. So I understand him being hesitant about wanting to come back and, like, potentially making a movie that's not very good, or maybe it flops, or, it just ruins his legacy. So I understand that. And he says in general, he's thinking about, like, just kind of taking a step back from acting, which is interesting. He said, he's not returning to Marvel anytime soon. And ultimately, I really hope to just make acting a little bit, I just hope to act a little bit less in my life. I have a lot of other interests. Look, by no means have I climbed any sort of mountain in this field. I have no Oscars, and I'm not lumped in with other names that are at the top of the mountain in any way, but I also feel very satisfied. So a lot of people interpreted this statement to mean that maybe he's already starting to think about retiring, as he's like, yeah, I'm not really, acting is not the first thing that's on my mind anymore. I've got other interests. I don't really feel like going back to Marvel anytime soon. He also has another quote. I thought I had it, but it's not here. But he had another quote that said, like, the last thing I want to do in the morning is read a script. So I feel like if that's how he's feeling right now, he must be pretty done with acting. Or at least maybe he's looking for a break. I mean, he's getting one right now during the strikes. So maybe he'll feel differently when it's once it's over. But it's sounding like now that he's married, he's looking to just kind of settle down and live his Marvel millions. What do you guys think about all this? Um, Pop says Marvel is probably going to recast someone horrible for future Captain America movies. Well, they kind of already did recast him. The Falcon is now Captain America, so Anthony Mackie is Captain America. DD says it sounds like he's wanting more serious roles. He's about to pull a Leonardo DiCaprio. Interesting. I would love if Chris Evans came back from the strikes and rebranded himself as like this serious actor, thespian guy or something. I would actually love that. I'm a big Chris Evans fan. I think I like him as an actor, as a person. So I want to see him succeed post Marvel. So if that happened, I'd be all for it. Oh, you guys are calling Leo creepy. Yeah, I mean, that is a pretty big age gap that he has with his wife. But I mean, they are two adults. I just think it's weird. It's like his girlfriend's almost my age. I'm like, what do you mean? I have a chance? Anyway. The modern designer says, I think he enjoys more smaller independent films like Knives Out. He was really good in Knives Out. Like, so good at Knives Out. Like, I don't know. I really wish that he kind of stuck with that, to be honest. In that sweater, I mean, the sweater was everything. Anyway, um, he also said that he thinks that the character was the star the whole time and not him. And he references Quentin Tarantino because Quentin Tarantino said something, I think it was last year, where he said that none of the superhero actors are actual stars. It's all their characters that are selling the movie. And apparently, Chris Evans agrees with that. But Kevin Feige disagrees with that. Kevin Feige says, I think it's something he was telling himself, talking about Chris, and I think it's something many of the Avengers, including Robert, would tell themselves, which actually was very helpful to the process. But in certain cases, including Chris's, it's not entirely true. So what do you guys think about this point? Do you think that I guess Chris has been doing a lot of reflecting about his Marvel role, and what I'm sensing from all of these comments is that even though he's feeling very satisfied with the work he's done, there's also a part of him that knows that by going the Marvel route, he kind of went the lighter, more pulpy route, and now there's a part of him that feels like his career was never like taken super seriously. That's kind of how this reads to me, and now he's kind of like he's made peace with a lot of it, but he also has some regrets. How do you feel about it? Kisaki says, it is weird that Leo dates girls past his prime. Yeah, are the girls adults and are consenting to be in the relationship? Yes, but please stop infantilizing women. I think that I don't know why you guys are talking about Leo, but yeah, I think the fact that he clearly doesn't seem to want to date anyone over the age of 25 consistently, I think that says a lot about his psyche. And I don't want to completely psychoanalyze Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't know him, but to me, I feel like, you know how they say you get mentally stuck at the age you were when you're famous? I feel like Leo has that issue because he was famous at a really young age because of Titanic. And I wonder if that's in his mind, he's still in like his early 20s or something. But anyway, that's my guess. But going back to Chris Evans, how do you feel about Chris Evans and any of these statements? Megan E says, I watched Iron Man for RDJ. I don't care about comic books, and Chris is Captain America to me. Yeah, to be honest, I think certainly not with all superheroes. There's definitely certain superheroes with the superhero name is more famous than the actor. But I think there are a select few actors that do make a difference. I think Chris Evans is one of them. And I think when we see Captain America 4 come out and not even make close to what the last Captain America movie made, they will see that Chris Evans as Captain America did make a difference. I think Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man definitely makes a difference. I don't think anyone else playing that role would do the same. And even, I would even go as far as to say Elizabeth Olsen. I think she has owned Scarlet Witch so much. Her and Tom Hiddleston with Loki. Those are two roles I also don't think would be as popular if they were played by anyone else. So I think it just really depends on the role and the actor, but for the majority of superheroes, I would agree, but just for him specifically and a few others, I actually think his name does add some, I would say, cachet to the role. What do you think? Okay, Little Joe's Animations. Well, since we're talking about age gaps in the chat, says, Leo is a perv, Chris is not. Mic drop. I don't think, I mean, I have no idea. I don't know. I think they're both in a mindset of like, clearly they just think that younger women are better than older women, and I don't know. I think that's more of like a loser mindset than a pervy mindset. As long as they're like an adult, you know? Yana says, if someone else played the Scarlet Witch to take over Olsen, I'd riot. Exactly. I think Elizabeth Olsen has earned the right to be like, no, no one else can play that. Grace Likes to Draw says, my friend says I can go to concert with my friend in April. I'm excited. Excited for your concert. Oh, Evil Connor says, like, I'm almost 30 and I can barely stand being around my early 20s coworkers. Maybe she's really mature? I don't know. I do find it a little weird because, like, even at my age, I'm already at, like, I think, like, teenagers or, like, even, like, 20-somethings are really immature. Because I'm like, yeah, you think you're all adult now, but you're really not. Oh, Jordan Davis, you agree with me. That's good. MW says, Marvel is a career ender now. I hope Thunderbolts gets canceled so A.O. Florence and Stephen Yeun can do something else actually worthwhile and good. Oh boy, Thunderbolts. I think Thunderbolts is going to be a huge flop unless they can actually sell it in the trailer and make people interested in the movie itself and not just the fact that it's a Marvel movie. Because if they can't do that, if they can't sell it as their, edgy team-up movie, I think that movie's gonna flop so hard and it's gonna hurt everyone's career involved, including Florence Pugh's. So, yeah, I think, for their sakes, I hope that movie gets canceled. Okay, Little Joe's Animation says Chris's girlfriends in recent years were his age. So, I guess Chris doesn't have this reputation like Leo has. I mean, I don't know. They seem to really like each other on their Instagram. They're always posting like such lovey-dovey photos. I'm like, oh, gross. Alright, anyway, I did ask you guys about this in the member questions because, refreshing it now, I want to know, do you think that Marvel has a future without their heavy hitters? Because now we have Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., even Chris Hemsworth, all have said like they're basically done with Marvel. Even Scarlet Witch herself, Elizabeth Olsen, is like, you know what, I want to break from Marvel, I'm done. And apparently I saw an article where there's a rumor, at least, that Elizabeth Olsen is going around and telling a bunch of new actors who are in talks with Marvel, like, or at least before the strikes, that they should stay away or not sign, like, a multi-contract, like, multi-film deal like she did, because they'll just, like, lock her down in that contract forever. So if you have a lot of the old Titans saying, we're gone, we're not coming back, you have even some of the newer, more popular characters like Elizabeth Olsen being like, not only do I not want to return, but also I'm warning other new actors not to sign any, like, lengthy contracts. What do you think the future of the MCU is going to be going forward? Can Marvel even survive without these big characters? So, I got some good comments here. Jordan Davis says, just like everything else, there is always a way to keep the MCU together. The MCU just needs to explain their story more clearly and make their characters likable. For the main characters, I propose Wong because he's been in almost every phase for a project, and Doctor Strange because he's tied with the multiverse. I think Doctor Strange definitely could have been one of the leaders. It's weird that he wasn't made to be one. And I agree with your point that Marvel's entire overarching story just doesn't even seem apparent. It's not even that it doesn't make sense, it's just like, what is this story? Brianna says the MCU is dying. Interesting. Oh, you can't see the page? Ugh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I moved it. I moved it. Okay, so now you guys can see it. There you go, Jordan Davis. Here's your comment. I'm sorry. Kai says, honestly, for Captain America, I think his hype was built off of good looks. Damn. Rather than character, and Iron Man was simply liked for his sarcastic yet secretly loving character. Definitely won't be the same without Iron Man, but to Captain America. I think Marvel going forward is in a weird youth hero direction, though. That's what's ruining it for me. Yeah, I don't know what Marvel's doing right now. It's like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in all of their movies recently, their heroes have been, like, passing their mantle down to children. Either their children or, like, just another kid. And I'm just like, I don't know if I want, like, all these kids running around. I know they're trying to, like, set up a new youthful group so that they can age up or whatever, but it just seems a little weird. But thank you for being a member. Mary Lynn Cherry says, I could see a good movie with the remaining characters from before Endgame, but they need to try harder than Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, I feel like if you can't do better than Multiverse of Madness, just give up. Millions Knives says, I want none of my faves to be cast in Marvel movies, like, my god. Yeah, I think right now, I think there's a very real possibility that so many current actors that are part of the Marvel machine will grow to regret it in the next coming years. Because I really think that unless they are able to somehow change things and course correct, like, very quickly, I just don't see Marvel getting any better. And I see a lot of actors who signed their contracts when things were going good for Marvel getting very, very upset that they're tied down to this franchise that's failing. And I see actors like Florence Pugh being one of them. In fact, she said something a couple of months ago that I think was subtle shade towards Marvel, where she said that the whole reason she joined Marvel was because she wanted to be Black Widow, essentially, and get to be in a movie with Scarlett Johansson. But of course now she's never going to get to do that again. So I feel like she was saying that because she was a little upset that she joined Marvel for one reason and now that reason is gone. So I kind of feel like she's already regretting it, not gonna lie. Nicholas Wilson, thank you so much for being a member, says, the MCU is circling the drain as it is. I don't think it'll make a difference when audience fatigue is already their biggest problem, and at worst, it may just speed up the end of the MCU. I mean, if they get all these major actors and major heavy hitters leaving, then yeah. I mean, all they've got left is, like, Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So, there's that at least. Thank you, Modern Designer. Yes, please like the video and also subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I mean, you got Tom Holland Superman, you got still Doctor Strange, but after Multiverse of Madness, I kind of feel like his popularity has dimmed a bit. Who else do you have? You would have had Black Panther, but unfortunately not anymore. And you have Deadpool, which is not even an MCU character. That they got that from the Fox acquisition, so I feel like that's it. And if, say, Benedict Cumberbatch is like, I'm done, I'm leaving, they have no more Doctor Strange. If Sony is like, you know what, Marvel, you got too many problems, we're doing our own thing, we're taking Tom Holland back from you, then Marvel has no more Spider-Man. And if they have no more Doctor Strange, no Spider-Man, all these others have already left, literally they're only left with, like, the B-C team and Deadpool. Like, that would be it. Like, that's where it's looking like it's heading, to be honest with you. Burning Daylighter says, I can't see it working without them. They are the core and the bones of the MCU. It's just unfortunate because the comics can keep them alive forever, but the MCU deals with real people who age and grow tired. Wanda could have led, but Multiverse of Madness ruined her character development. Black Panther, as we know it, is gone. Doctor Strange is far out in the galaxy with Charlize Theron, and Captain Marvel can't even lead her own sequel. Damn, you're not wrong. And that's just to name a few. The MCU is in shambles. Yeah, it really is. Could you imagine even just like 5 years ago saying the MCU is in shambles and anyone believing you? 5 years ago, that would seem inconceivable. Cheetah Viper says, I'm concerned with anyone leading. Doctor Strange wasn't the focus in his own movie. I like Paul Rudd. He's been acting a while and doesn't seem to be in the news for negative things. That's true. Tom Hiddleston is likable, and I enjoyed Loki. I'm not sure if they could lead the team. No, I don't think Loki should lead the team. Definitely not. Benedict Cumberbatch has a following, but they ruined his character. The only thing Marvel coming out that I'm interested in is Loki Season 2. I'm very curious to see how well Loki Season 2 does. Does it do as well as the last season? Like, the first season of Loki actually managed to hit the zeitgeist. Like, everyone was talking about it. It was constantly, like, the main topic on social media every night that it dropped. I don't know if Season 2 is going to get the same treatment, but we'll see. I am interested in it. I am going to watch it. Mikey says, I do think people are going to be mad or just don't care like I do because the MCU hasn't been releasing anything good anymore. Yeah, a lot of people just don't care, like they've completely jumped ship. The Modern Designer says, I would say that the Marvel Avengers Extended Universe has run its course. The current franchise needs to end, and Marvel should focus on more animated content like Spider-Verse. The live-action films could come back in 6 to 8 years with a fresh cast and telling individual character-driven standalone stories like Matt Reeves' The Batman and Todd Phillips' The Joker. Marvel also needs to rely less on CGI and have more auteur directors at the helm. Fully agree with that last statement. Fully agree. Could you just imagine for a second a Marvel movie directed by like Greta Gerwig and she uses real sets and real props like in Barbie and they just let her do her and they don't actually have Kevin Feige ghost direct the thing? Could you imagine? That's the kind of stuff they should be doing. You're absolutely right. And Tanya Mulling says, I think Marvel is screwed and needs to reboot. I like how blunt you are. You're just like, no flowery language, no other explanation. They're just screwed. You're not wrong, Natanya. You're not wrong. Or maybe, I don't know. Are we being too doomeristic on Marvel? Is there hope? I mean, is there anyone in my chat who still feels like there's hope? And second question, is doomeristic a word? Nicholas says, but I always said the only way the MCU would truly end is if it died slowly and painfully as people lost interest. Yeah, that's true. That's kind of the only way it can end, because it's not like Disney is just suddenly going to end making Marvel movies when they're still making money. So the only way this could end is just a slow, painful death. That's very true. No, it's not a word. Okay, well, I made a new one. There we go. Retro Jess says, well, I really can't see anyone else as Captain America. This is not good. Well, you're about to see a new Captain America with Captain America 4 next year. We have, as you guys know, Anthony Mackie, who plays the Falcon, or did play the Falcon, is now the new Captain America. How do you guys think that recast is going to go over in Captain America 4? Do you think that movie has a chance? Because it supposedly comes out next year. We'll see with the strikes and stuff, but I think it will. Oh. Okay, Valerie says you liked Eternals. I did not care for Eternals, but I didn't care for Chloe Zhao's other movie too, Nomadland. I didn't like either of those films. I did not understand how Nomadland won Best Picture when I thought that movie was utter crap. I hated that movie. Like, not even just disliked it or thought it was mid, but like I actively hated that movie. I was so surprised that it won. So surprised. And then when I saw Eternals, I was like, yeah, this also sucks. For a lot of the same reasons I didn't like Nomadland. So I wasn't surprised that it was bad, because I was like, yeah, I don't think I like Chloe Zhao as a director. Kizaki says it happens in the comics, but people watch Chris Evans Captain because he's also hot. Yeah, people were also thirsting over Chris. Although, to be fair, he did look very good in that photo shoot, so I kind of understand. Burning Daylighter says, I think Falcon should have just stayed Falcon. I don't like these Force taking up the mantle, even though it is accurate to the comics. Here's what I think. I'm a little worried that people will see what they've done with Captain America, and to them it'll be the same thing that's happening with like the Little Mermaid. and the new Snow White movie, where there's gonna be at least a section of the audience that just rejects this film because in their mind the main lead was race cast or race swapped. I feel like this movie's definitely gonna get a lot of political heat because of that. What do you guys think? Modern designer, thank you so much. Running both Marvel and Disney would be very exhausting, though. Nicholas says, then again, but best actress discussion online always turns into a ish show for some reason. What are you talking about? Were you talking about someone else in the chat? Joshua Munn says, Chris Evans, Human Torch, and Captain America, also Chris Evans, both meet. You know what? That might happen in Secret Wars. All the rumors we're hearing about Avengers Secret Wars, it just sounds like they're going to bring back every person who has ever played a Marvel character in any Marvel movie ever. And they're going to put it in an Avengers movie and hope you all see it. We'll see how that goes. Amphibio Lover says, either way, Marvel's doomed. Okay, so there's some more doomerism. Evil Connor, Marvel is dead. So, another doomeristic comment. I'm claiming doomeristic. Because we're being very doomeristic. But it's true. I mean, when you look at... okay. Right now, maybe it's hard to say Marvel is dead because Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 did just do really well. And you also had Wakanda Forever, even though it didn't make $1 billion, it still made like 800-something million. Multiverse of Madness still made almost $1 billion. So they still have movies that can do well. So I don't think maybe they're like officially dead yet. But I think if they don't turn things around soon, they could become the next Star Wars. So I think they need to watch out for that. Kasaki says, if anyone says that, then they aren't Marvel fans. It's a comic-accurate event that the Captain America mantle is passed on. That's true. I mean, I know this happens a lot in the comics. That's true. I just don't know if, like, people will accept it in the movies. Especially since Chris Evans' version of the character was so popular. Nicholas says, Falcon becoming Cap's successor was like expectation subversion done right, though. Not what we expected, but made sense. Okay, that's a good way of putting it. So you're thinking because Marvel did it the right way, people will accept it more? Maybe. I would love that if that's true. Okay, Martin says, of course there will be people that are upset. Yeah, I think that's pretty much inevitable, to be honest with you. Alright, so that was the last thing that... Oh, wait, no, I have WTF news. I did promise you the WTF news. Are you ready for the WTF news? Alright. It is this. What on earth is going on with Twitter/X? Because Elon Musk is apparently suicidal. According to this tweet that just said Elon Musk is reportedly considering, unaliving himself. And then there's a community note, which if you're on Twitter, community notes are supposed to help you, discern if something is true or not. They said this is true, which sounds to me like Elon himself might have wrote this. So, what? I guess he's feeling very upset with his purchase of Twitter, and now he's thinking of unaliving himself. And he's confirming this. I'm so confused. And I feel like there is like a 99.999% chance he 100% wrote this. I'm sorry, but I think he definitely wrote this himself. He wrote that community note. You can't tell me he didn't. Especially since he always says this is true. Like, he says that a lot. I know. You guys are just laughing. Not you guys laughing. Y'all are not taking this seriously at all. Oh my god. Literally just laughing. Joe says, I can't stand Elon, not even because he's a billionaire, but because he's awful. Yeah, I know. Did you guys see he's also considering making everyone pay for Twitter? Like, you have to pay or else? That is not going to go well for him. Oh, Sammy Bear. Oh no, best decision he's made so far. Oh! You guys are not Elon Musk fans, I see. Oh god, Arvin! Elon Musk should advise this to Bob Iger. I don't know, maybe they should all take a trip to the Titanic in a submersible, you know? We'll see what happens. Um, Danny says this is a weird timeline we have entered. Yeah, it's very weird. Like, what is happening? But anyway, that's our WTF news for the day. So I'm gonna ask or answer about 3 questions, and that'll be it for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this was fun. I was in a bit of a, I don't know, a bit of a funk earlier, so this stream really raised my spirits. So thank you guys. He is a clown, yeah, very cringy. Some of my favorite YouTube videos, like my favorite kind of YouTube content to watch, is like YouTube videos debunking stuff that Elon Musk says, because he lies so often and has lied about so many things that he's supposedly invented, that there's just like a never-ending sea of YouTube videos debunking like every Elon Musk claim, and they're really entertaining. Little Joe's Animations, thank you so much for the super chat. Wow, very, very kind. Hopefully this isn't true. This is a serious thing to joke around with, and I don't get why people demonize him. It's wrong and disgusting. WTF. I mean, I feel like, not feel like, Elon Musk. I used to be a fan of Elon Musk back in like 2018, when it seemed like maybe he was genuinely trying to help the world, help people. I thought it was cool. He was working on rockets that could land themselves. I genuinely believed his hype, that he just wanted to like help the world, and he was, doing all this cool tech stuff to do it. I bought it all. And then in 2020, I don't even know like what it was specifically, but something snapped, and I was like, you know what, this Elon Musk guy, something's not right about him. And that's when I found all those videos debunking like every single thing he's ever said. And essentially he's built his entire reputation on lies. And ever since he bought Twitter, he's really shown himself to be a jerk, a narcissist, and kind of an awful human being. So that's why people treat him this way. I think he kind of deserves this treatment, not gonna lie. He's really brought this on himself. Yes, it's very sad to have suicidal thoughts, and I truly wish that on no one. But if you're wondering why people are being so harsh on him and not being sympathetic, that's why. Alright. Oh, Brittany rants. Okay. Yana says, to represent a nation that seemed hell-bent, what are you talking about, Yana? I feel like I missed something. Brittany rants. Oh my god, I'm glad you guys like my rants. I didn't realize that was really a rant, though. Arvin says, Brittany, how do you feel about your favorite actress, Aquafina? My favorite. Is going to be the next Dragon Warrior in Kung Fu Panda 4. No! She voices Zen, a fox that's gonna replace Po. No! You mean I gotta hear that woman's voice for another 2 hours? Are you kidding? You know what? I give my props to her agent, who keeps getting her these roles, because they are very good at their job. Alright, I'll take like one more question, and that'll be it. Alright, Pop. Hey Britt, I have a question. Do you like any of the Disney shows? Some examples I'm talking about are the Owl House, Amphibia, etc. If you do you think they're more interesting than the movies? Good question. I liked WandaVision. I loved WandaVision. I thought it was great. Other than that, out of the shows, you know what? They had a show called Prop Culture. They took it down now, but it was about like following people who collected movie props. I thought that was really interesting. And they have a show called, I forgot the name, but it's an Imagineering show, and it shows you like how all the parks got built. That was also really interesting. Those have been some of my favorite shows that I've seen on Disney+. Alright, that was it. I answered your questions. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern.